As we traditionally do with a moment of silence. Thank you. Commissioner Farrell, will you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
Would everyone rise for the pledge that is able? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation.
Thank you. We have the agenda before us. Are there any changes to the regular agenda or the consent agenda?
Yes, I would like to pull one item out of the consent agenda, please. Bear with me as I find it. On page one?
Page 2, I think, item 7.
Page 2, item 7.
Okay, so the interlocal agreement with Chatham County and Town of Pittsboro. Okay. Take a motion to approve the consent agenda. Motion to approve the agenda.
I move.
Commissioner Farrell, thank you. Second, Commissioner Vose, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. And a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved. Modified. As modified.
Commissioner Vose, thank you. Second, Commissioner Bonitz, all those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, up first, we have information.
I have no questions. Looking at report that the ABC board distributed $16,980 this past quarter to the town of Pittsboro.
Great. Thank you.
Very nice, very nice.
Okay, thank you. Up next are ceremonial items. And this evening we have a memorial resolution for Bill Baker. Whereas on the 27th day of September, 2024, seal for this community earned the affection of the people of the town of Pittsboro. Whereas Bill served his country honorably in the United States Marine Corps during the Vietnam War, a testament to his dedication and patriotism. And whereas he served his community well for many years in numerous capacities, including 4 years of dedicated service to the citizens of Pittsboro as a planning board member for the town of Pittsboro and as president and board member for the Pittsboro Kiwanis Club for almost 40 years. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the mayor and the board of commissioners of the town of Pittsboro, North Carolina, that we hereby express the town of Misc, that a copy be presented to the family of William Baker, adopted this 12th day of November, 2024. Take a motion to approve.
Motion to approve the memorial resolution.
Thank you, Commissioner Farrell. Second, Commissioner Baldwin. All those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Thank you. Okay, up next is Citizens Matters, and we will start with the manager's update.
Thank you, Mayor. A couple training highlights. leadership in our emerging leaders. I'm glad that she's able to get that. I think 180 people applied, 50 got it. So we were lucky to give them one department head in that program. Yeah, we're post finalizing our draft CIP and draft staffing study for meeting 1st of December. CIP is looking at 5 years and the draft staffing study is looking at 10 years. And what our staffing needs may be over the next 10 years as we grow. Point of clarification, the Hampton Inn ribbon cutting is actually at noon on November 14th. My update is at 11:30, but that is at. And the skate park construction is slated to
We had the state of the town on October 28th. So I wanted to thank staff again for all the work that was put into that event and a successful event there. That recording will be posted online soon, so everybody can watch that. On October 29th, we had the groundbreaking for the Tri-River water filtration facility. So a multi-town effort there to kick off the construction of that water filtration facility. And that will have the same water treatment that we have in Pittsburgh today. So the GAC advanced treatment system will be a part of that facility. And then November. Later this week, I'll be going to the National League of Cities Conference. And then, as Jonathan mentioned, November, this Thursday, is the Hampton Inn ribbon cutting. Next Wednesday at 11 a.m. is the pop-up park ribbon cutting. And on Friday at 5 p.m. is a ribbon cutting for West End Kitchen for the transition of ownership there. Economic Development Corporation, we had a meeting on October 30th. The EDC does have an office at 79 West now, so they're still in the other office where they were. And then they also have a presence at 79 West. The advisory subcommittee that I'm on. Our next meeting is November 22nd, and then we also completed the work on the cybersecurity task force for the EPA. Unfortunately, that report will not be public. So lots of good work and will be distributed appropriately to utilities, water and wastewater utilities for cybersecurity improvements there. That was all I had. Mayor Pro Tem Baldwin?
No, I don't have anything to report this time.
Thank you. Commissioner Bonitz?
Nothing to report from here either.
Thank you. Commissioner Farrell?
No, sir.
To the Central Pines Housing Committee. And thank you for that referral. And I'll do my best on that. As a member of the Affordable Housing Advisory Committee in Chatham County, we will be voting for or recommending for funding allocations for affordable homes housing this coming month, in December. And that's it. That's all I have.
You. Commissioner Vose?
I went to an ABC board meeting on Thursday, the 24th. And as I mentioned, $16,980 were distributed to the town. The street. Commissioner Farrell on the 29th. Then on the 31st, I attended an Artists in Schools event with the Arts Council at the Bondley Elementary School.
Thank you. Okay, up next is public comment. We had one individual signed up for public comment, Mr. Fred Salzman, but I think he might have intended to sign up for the other item. Okay, we'll pick you up on the public hearing. No problem, no problem.
Structure matters, this being one, the lead service line inventory and replacement project update is in lead and copper rule revisions that were issued by EPA in 2021. Our staff worked to obtain a grant for our compliance piece in 2023. And as part of that, Tri-River has been working to complete the inventory process and look ahead to the replacement process. So a status. So Paul.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. Thank you for having us here today. You've got your direct utility control with water. All I want to really do is introduce the team. Becky Smith, the contractors, will actually be performing the presentation because I'm starting to know this for. Also I have here today Glenn Fleming with Withers and Ravenel. They've done the work, are doing the work for the Sanford service area. Also have here tonight, Nick Fortune, who's the Director of Business Management.
Presentation, and I thought, what a group of people to probably does not want to hear one more thing about water quality. But this one has good news and already funded. So the lead and copper rule, the Safe Drinking Water Act started in the 70s. We had the complete ban on lead pipe in the 80s, and this lead and copper rule in the 90s. This common sources of lead in drinking water are the lead pipes themselves, the service line lead pipes, fixtures and faucets, and brass and bronze. Since the implementation of this rule, the EPA reports that the lead and copper level action level exceeds this in large drinking water communities in our country has been reduced by 90%. 25 years of he's working. The lead and copper all community water systems, about 2,300 in the state of to put together an inventory of every service line in the system. That's what we're working towards. If when you do your inventory, you have even one service line, then you have to put together that's problematic, then you have to put together a replacement plan, an action step to address it. Next slide. So what is a service line? Because there's a lot of abbreviations here. The service line the first part of that service line is owned by the utility and maintained by the utility. And the meter from there to the house is the homeowner's responsibility. That is where the EPA and the way they set this up are asking us to look at both sides. Next slide. So the lead service line inventory must be developed by all community water. For each side of the line. So once that initial once the initial inventory is put together, that has to be submitted in this past October. A lot of people, a lot of communities didn't have records, including us, of what that material is. So when we asked for the grant, we're a little ahead of the game. A lot of communities are submitting these inventories, but just Pittsburgh received last fall. So with this training, map of Pittsburgh, just the downtown, and investigate, I guess you guys have seen some crew around town that are looking in the water meter boxes, and if you can see visually both sides of the pipe, we're documenting it, mapping it, putting it in your inventory list. It is unfortunate that that doesn't work all the time. We were just discussing the meters that are up against the buildings in the downtown. Pavement, fixed pavers. That's all going to be going on. So far around town, we are more than 75% complete, not 100. We visually inspected everything that could be inspected, and now we're down to cutting asphalt, cutting sidewalk. And so this is very slow and going, but I think early next year, we should have everybody's service line identified that needed to be identified. We took the county's data. If your house was built will be published on the Tri River website so that you can look up your address and see what your pipe material has been identified to be. Future milestones. We've accomplished the baseline inventory. We've submitted that to DEQ. Everybody's address, and sometimes with unknown. Inventory will be done with by the first of the year. Then, once everybody's material is known, plan to replace what is required to be replaced will be gathered, put together. That will be all the same for Tri Rivers plan. So in the scheme of where DEQ wants us to be, we've already gathered what information was available, which wasn't much, built the inventory, started the investigation. We will complete the reason the action is being taken so well now is because Congress put $15 billion towards this solving this problem. It's for about $500,000 from the grant last year. Should get us through identifying every single service that was in place at a building prior to 1987's ban. And Sanford has already received some money there. It's the hard part of actually digging the services up. But that's why crews have been around town. I think Jay saw them and get into the downtown center and figuring out how to get that looked at. Was a lot of fishing. But everybody will be one of the few municipalities where everything checked off the box and identified ahead of the curve. Any questions?
Yeah, I have a couple, Becky. We have, yeah, thank you. We bent over backwards solving water issues. So this is another continuation of that, and I thank you for your efforts. When you started talking about lead in water, I thought about Flint, Michigan, and the awful problems they had up there. Property values plummet, children do not learn, they flunk out of school, and health issues left and right.
Yeah.
So from my understanding, what you're really looking for is galvanized pipe and lead linings of those.
They're going to make you assume the worst case and they
Oh.
want a replacement.
Okay. From the meter box to the home.
Yes.
Wow.
Oh, that's true too, with the utility side too, although we have not bumped into.
And how many residents in Pittsburgh ballpark do you think have lead? I know you're doing an inventory now, but
Doing inventory now, so maybe 3-ish that we're gonna verify as having lead. So far, we're not done. We still got 100 or 150 left to do. So don't hold me to the numbers exactly. By the first of the year, we will have a complete breakdown.
I got one more question. These are individual residences, but what about the danger to the town's water supply in general? Do we have a way of sampling lead in our water system?
So yes, you do. So Corey was explaining that sampling for lead can be difficult. And he has it's difficult. You have to, the water must remain motionless for 6 to 8 hours. It's very, you have to use a special sample. You've got to teach the homeowner how to take the sample. So he,
Okay.
and it's not fact, when I talked to him, he did.
Done enough of the inventory desktop, which you've also gone out, crews have gone out and actually sampled the dug up line, taken a look. There's only about 100.
Yeah.
So you're kind of ahead of the game. Once that overall. There's going to be more federal funding applied to this. Pittsburgh staff, kudos to them. They got a 100% grant from the state. It's that $500,000 ball grant. Sanford, we had $600,000 grant, $400,000. Oh, interest loan. So your staff did a great job getting you funds that you need to get to the end. But those funds would get you through those first two stages. It's the actual desktop inventory and then actually going out and putting hands on. So.
A few more questions?
Sure.
Thank you so much, Becky. Appreciate.
Well, we're talking about just the service line. Transmission line and distribution line have been studied in the past. In fact, I think that your company did that work as well when we did the GIS mapping of our entire system.
Is that right?
Yeah.
So can you elaborate on that as it regards this matter of galvanized or lead?
So as of the main water line, no galvanized, no lead. We do have a little asbestos cement pipe. It's mostly ductile, a little C900 here and there PVC.
Covers it for me. Thank you.
I think Jay Clark.
I did several times. Yeah, good job.
They were trying to get around. Yeah.
So how are we educating our residents? Yeah, you try river or.
Well, I was gonna say about the module, it's gonna be on the website. And it is very user friendly, interactive.
Is there a way we can do it with the bill? So we're actually gonna be doing a couple things. One of the things we're doing, and they're actually gonna go out this week, mailers that are going out to every resident, every person who has service. Purple building, industrial building, whoever. They're galvanized, you'll get a letter stating that. You're one. Also attached to that letter is required notification. And it's basically going to say, if the analysis showed that you had lead, it's going to say you have lead. And it's going to say, well, what do you do if you have lead? You decrease your potential exposure to lead. There's something that you can do. It's also going to give you a number that you can call if you have a question. Also, we're putting together a list of FAQs, which we're distributing to all of you, because we understand who people call, and then they're going to call you. Once you get the file of the FAQs, next thing is going to be call 919-777-1122. Is that a business number? It's actually right outside the door. And we'll have people there who can answer all of the other questions, because it's really hard to educate a lot of people on this at once. So it's easier that if we could give you just a list of FAQs, the top 5 or 10 things that you can explain to folks. In the very end, if they want to call us, feel free to refer to us.
I don't know what the answer is. Something we should all figure out. I don't think anybody on this board goes anywhere downtown without somebody telling them that the water is not acceptable. We all know that's not the truth. Perception is perception.
Thank you, Commissioner Vose. No, I think it's a very good point. And the question of education, and Commissioner Foley for also raising the question. So could we step up and do a bit more than we would ordinarily do in terms of making sure that whatever facilities are placed on the website, whatever information, resources are placed there, whatever goes into the bill, complimentary information, social media, repeatedly, like not just one, but multiple times a day, because that's. I'm just a guy, I studied social media for small businesses, and what we were taught 5 or 7 years ago was you can't just send it out once. If you're gonna get through the algorithms, you gotta send it out multiple times.
Exactly.
And my billboards, so.
And I think you're right. But what we need to do is a separate education piece, because a lot of this piece, we don't get messages and they're used, and they have no idea of it. Like what you said, we want to educate everybody, all of our citizens, on the quality of water that they're getting, and things that we are doing in order to get into the best quality water we can get. And then high quality water. We just continue to do a better and better job. We'll be happy to continue a dialogue with you to find out what are those pressure points, what are the things that you're hearing, what are the things that we communicate back.
I would love to have like a session.
Also, I think we need to definitely reiterate what town festival has done in the past. Because a lot of people, I know it's there on the website, but people are still saying the same thing they were saying. But we need to strongly reiterate that there has been actions taken. That water is good. You can drink the water.
We're gonna have a pretty substantial website novels with us, but on top of that, we're talking with our PIOs and your gathering. To make sure they're all on the same page and they have those FAQs, they just help us get that message out, because quite frankly, they're the ones to get on Twitter and those sort of things. Okay, this guy. My daughter would hate that.
Some audio issues, so everybody can make sure to speak directly into these.
EPA was actually put together a very lot of these questions. But they really did, I mean, the history behind it, how it got affected, but Michigan stuff, I mean, there's a lot of detail, a bunch of questions that have been answered by them. That. I mean, like, come out, not being like. That's a funny, right?
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay, so next we have a update from NCDOT on the project for knockdown. Okay.
Thank you, Mayor. Just before we turn completely away from the lead and copper rule, a couple of things I want to highlight about that is we talked a lot about regional coordination and cooperation. So our ability to get grant funding, to get educated on this was the result of being involved with the Triangle Water Partnership. So that's, another example of regional coordination. The other thing is we did in fact get a great jump start on this, and then with merger and some other kind of staff transition, we kind of lost some focus for 2 to 3 months. And so I really want to compliment Paul and Becky for really picking this up when the merger transition happened at the end of last fiscal year, really kind of driving this to get us to the point we are. So great job there. So another just tremendous partner that we have that I think the public again was not give them their due as much as they should is NCDOT. And in Pittsburgh, we're in Division 8 of NCDOT. And we have just a great working relationship with them. They really partner with us on many things and help us on a weekly basis. So this next item is an update on a number of construction projects that are in construction or far into design and will be going into construction. Those are our street widening, which we're very familiar with, and 2 portions of Chatham Parkway North, which is currently, that is under construction, and part of that is under design, and then Chatham Parkway South, which is everything to do with south of 64 business. So to do that, we have Morgan DeWitt with and Jeff. Give us those updates.
We have Morgan with position with me on project team and Jeff Schroeder. Also working the project development unit.
Welcome back, Morgan.
Kind of go over a couple projects that we thought that works in within the town of Pittsburgh, just to give you an update of where we are and the way. For Division 8, there's 14 divisions across the state. Our Blues, Chatham County, along with other counties, our division office. The first project we're going to talk about today this evening is our 5724, and that's a line of Hillsborough Street from downtown up to Powell. So this project was broken up into 2 phases, and I'm sure everyone's familiar with the A portion. It was completed in 2021, and it's circle downtown. So that traffic circle project is R 5724A. So what we're going to talk about this evening is R 5724. Project includes widening 1.8 miles from Walnut Street north to Southwest Lane. Currently 2 lanes. We're going to add it together. There's going to be a 10-foot on the east side and 5-foot sidewalk on the west side. We're also going to be doing some roadway upgrade the intersection of collect roads along the corridor. After we started this project, reclamation, we extended the scope a little bit by adding an additional sidewalk from Walnut south down to the top of the street. So that will complete the corridor for the sidewalk. Along with that, we've got some intersection improvements at Albert Street and Hillsborough Street downtown to better accommodate pedestrians and ADA requirements and accessibility. And we're also going to be doing resurfacing throughout. So the completion of the project from downtown to Pathways will be fully multimodal accessibility with the side of the roadway along with 4 zones. Question we have from the public meeting. It is preliminary plan, but we wanted to show it just because it really gives you an overview of the whole corridor from Walnut Street up to Pathways. So it shows where there's going to be a sidewalk on one side, the 10-foot multi-use path on the other, and continuous center line. Left turning movements to reduce congestion. So we added once we got further into the project. You've got a 5-foot sidewalk on one side and a 10-foot multi path.
How wide is the planting strips?
I believe the multi path is 10 or 4.5 foot. Oops, 5 foot. Just a little bit about where we are. We started right-of-way acquisition back in 2022. That was a pretty long process. We're able to have that wrapped up early 2025. We were able to start utility relocation a couple months ago. I'm sure y'all seen Duke out there doing some clear work to repair the lab. That's supposed to be completed. Duke is almost done from then we'll move forward with utility relocation. We should wrap up in January 2026. That will allow us to let the project for construction in April of 2026. It's estimated a 28-month construction duration, so it should be completed hopefully by August 2020. Project's going to be one lane at a time, so there will be need for all-site detour. So all the driveways, mailboxes, everything will be accessible throughout the duration of construction. Before we move on to time walkway, we're going to have to be out of the way.
Basically, in reference to 15.5.1, how folks will think to their actual, the front of their homes.
It just depends on where the home is located along the corridor and how much right of way or easement that we need. All the property owners that have it in mind, and most of them are located at this point, as far as right acquisition. So it really just depends on where you are. If you have a specific property in mind, we can always return to property acquisition.
Okay, I'll give you this.
Okay, sure.
Thank you.
Similar question, concern, following this through the years, it sounds like the only building that is in question of impact is the double duplex, twice in block building. And that's 2 units of rent affordable housing. It seems to me that structure might be able to stay in use, perhaps not through the project, but in future after the project. See some of the fill material, but I think it's going to be cut from the east side of the road. Perhaps offered to landowner for replacement of the back of this building. Out the part of the back of the building. And I would just like to raise that. Sorry to get down. I do imagine there is going to be some material cut from the much higher elevations to the east side of the road. Another detail item has to do with crosswalks on the project. Sometime in the future, we expect the Belmont Station project to create an extension of X Campbell Road to hit Hillsborough Street. And that intersection seems like it would be a good place for a crosswalk. It's more than a mile, I think, from the 2 crosswalks that are currently on. The other option, or maybe both, would be green, in my opinion, Springdale Court, where it currently intersects with the project. It'd be really great to have a crosswalk there as well. I don't mean Springdale, but across the This is definitely an outside bounds project, but I just want to float the idea. Future question, I'm not going to ask you to answer it right here and now, but I am curious, since we're going to have added improvement to pedestrian and bicycle connectivity between Powell Place and downtown. At what point in the future could we look to connecting
even further to Northwood High School and to the Mosaic development to the north. In other words, the overpass of Highway 64 is the bottleneck there. And I think we're blessed that the overpass was built so wide that it does have a center link that perhaps could be used. It's kind of crazy.
I'm just up here on the same thought. Are you aware of any bridge that has pedestrian rails or railings? That we could use there. Yeah.
Oh, yes, they do. Yeah, they do exist. I thought it might have been within this frame. Just in general, yeah. It just has to meet the requirements of proper space.
So we wouldn't be agreeing that thing really.
No.
Everybody can initiate that process.
I got a question. Are you talking about the rails on the existing bridge over 64 bypass? You talking about on the existing bridge? Is that what we're talking about? Those, that's Jersey rail, I think, on the existing bridge. That rail may have to be switched out to go with like a 2-bar metal rail or something depends on, pedestrian safe rail. So it would probably require removing that. I will have to look into it. You'd have to remove that barrier wall and put up a new wall that with a 2-bar metal rail or something like that. Yes. I think there's a Jersey barrier, just a concrete Jersey barrier right now. It's not going to be obviously pedestrian bicycles safety. So.
So the ones that I'm concerned more so about are the next 5 houses, homes down from that, because they are very close to the street. So those, I need to know.
Look at that.
On the same side.
So okay.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, we can definitely look at those, with the right plan, we can see where those were right on.
All the way up to Dark Oaks Street.
Okay. Any more questions? Okay, we can move on to Chatham Parkway. Due to the size of this project, it's been broken up in several phases. And once completed, it will complete the eastern loop around the Compass Square. So the next slide, we're going to review each phase in a little more detail, but we first wanted to give you an overview of the corridor in its entirety along with the company schedules, just so you can kind of see where each individual one is broken up. And currently, 5501 is the only major north-south route through Pittsburgh and funnels all the traffic through the historic downtown area. So this is an opportunity to give an alternative route for traffic, rather than having the economic development in the region. It will improve mobility options for drivers, pedestrians, and cyclists. So, for the first phase, we're going to start north and south. So, what you see shown in yellow right here is 5930A and B, that's Chatham Parkway North. Pretty much everything south of will bypass what we're calling Chatham Parkway South. So this is 2.7 miles of the new route from 64 bypass up north to 5501 Universal Chapel Road. Starts as the 2-lane from 5501 transitions around Grant Drive to the 4-lane section and separated by the median. There's a 10-foot multi-use path on both sides on both sides of the roadway with a separation. And I just forgot to review the schedule on the previous one, but we can just keep looking at this one. The B section, well, the A section, which is the southern portion of the yellow that's shown, left for construction last year, and it's under construction right now. is anticipated, late summer 2025. And then the northern portion of LaShawn was 5930B, is scheduled to let for construction in March 2025. We're evaluating the schedule right now. It may like we do utilities. A lot of our due to utility crews have gone out in Western North Carolina. We're going to get them to try and get them power. So we're kind of in the same zone for our projects. But that schedule's meeting. And that section should be complete.
More than one question you might have. Is there any possibility of a west bypass off of 501 coming into 64? I know we have some future development coming out west there. Is there any possibility of that being on a step or consideration for DOT?
I don't believe it's shown on the CTP. Proposed in the foreseeable future of the step. For that area.
That's a new route, correct? You're talking about.
Yes.
Yeah, that would have to be submitted. It can be submitted as a project in our next, but it would be like our prioritization P 8.0, which is 2 years out probably. That would have to be submitted as a project. You know, you look at RPOs, MPOs, and submit that as a project. But right now, we don't have a project that I know of, if I'm following you correctly.
So we could submit that as a here down the road.
Yeah, you can do that.
Carol, do you mean, for example, potentially following Russell Chapel Road? I'm actually thinking west, coming off 501 down below where the blue Chatham Park South is, and going around to tie into 64. Completing the loop instead of having that open around, they would probably come in past 8 on Taylor Road, I assume.
Oh, see, that portion is on this, you can look on the back of your. It's for this.
Yeah, I see it.
Yes, sir.
So it is on the skip project.
It's on the CTP, but it may not be, I think I'm hearing it's not on the skip, but
It's on the CTP, but it's not a project that has been submitted or stolen. It's not a TIP project now.
We're working on now, updated. So that's that.
Something you wish to pursue, you could, talk to the RDO about getting that submitted.
Okay.
Future project.
Thank you.
Registration that we use in our public meeting, we do not, 29, they can't give you an overview of the corridor. So this is our 5930 A1B, which starts at 64 bypass with an existing Chatham Parkway is, and it flows north, to connect with Chatham with 15 by 31 north. Yeah, where it kicks up on the south end of the 4 line and the transition switch. Both with a median and pedestrian accommodations. The proposed street vehicles, just to kind of give you an idea if you were actually driving down it. We've got 10-foot multi-stack on both sides, median and separated median, and it is full access, which means there's no driveways that will be permitted on the corridor, just at great intersections for major and minor. I've been down, we're looking at Chatham Parkway South. It's just this one originally was in 4 phases, but we combined A and B, so now it's 3 phases. So starting from 15,501 south of Pittsburgh, it will go up to connect the 64 business with it to the bypass. So that whole route is 3.3 miles. It is 2 lanes. Then separating the end where it starts from the south end of 5501 and then transitions to a 4 lane. It also has the 2-foot multi-use paths on both sides. There's a roundabout for the corridor, and one of them will accommodate future. Which is currently under construction now, is the realignment of Souls Road, which I'm sure y'all seen the construction over there. That's the deep portion, and that's where the connecting to Adam Parkway just north of 5. Also, there's a C portion which was proposing to widen the existing Shadow Parkway. We had to remove that from the skip so we could, because of inflation and just the increasing pricing for the same construction costs. But by removing that from the skip, we were able to fund the A and B portion south of that for our tax and putting the loop faster. So the 59C widening the existing road and put back, it's being put back in the skip and build it. That will allow us to make the connection. It's just a conceptual illustration of Shadow Parkway South. So the top picture starts at 5501 south of town, where it's a 2 lanes, and then it transitions to a 4 lane just there at Market Road. This project's anticipated to let this spring, also depending on how fast we can get utilities moving. Right, so let's go forward. And then this is the rest. The top one picks up or finishes the A section. You can see it crosses the 64 by business on the top picture, and then connects to the Parkway that's in existence today. Bottom picture shows the existing going over the bypass, and then it shows that Souls Road realignment, which would be the portion of the shipping company. Go back to the back. It's just a straight typical, just to kind of give you an idea of what these would be like. It's very much like the north section, providing pedestrian accommodations on both sides. Yeah, have any questions?
That's it's gonna be a significant amount of use, multi-use for greenway. And I've heard different things about the inclusion of trees in those green spaces between the 2 pathways of the road. What can you tell me about that?
But it creates a lot of issues, but I think three things. One, because a lot of utilities are under the ground. Not cause damage is not a lot. So trees can be planted there and really just depends on what it is. Be able to have guidelines for that. Now,
These will not be included in the construction.
he's the project manager.
In the audience? We have,
I'm Jeffrey.
oh,
Yeah.
Sorry.
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 Okay, next we have our public hearings, and the public hearing this evening is PB 2446. Placing in the meeting. I'll ask for a motion to enter into the public hearing. So, Vose. Second. Foley, all those in favor? Thank you.
Then request place development to petition the unconstructed residential units, residential area to be a mixed use area. That's a short presentation for you all.
Mr. Mayor, Board of Commissioners, my name is Jody Lytle, and I'm representing Powell Police Department this evening. We're currently which is moving 150 of an unused entitled residential units to the residential section. The history of this. So this is how we complete Powell Police and the regional master plan. So we started looking at the example. Powell Place went through the discussion, and these West partners sold portions of the undeveloped block. I think it's a wonderful attribute to this request. If you look at 27 acres and say, what? These are the community. These are the homes that are. We looked at it and said, well, we are entitled to 350,000 square feet of commercial in 27 acres. Really taking the non-residential, non-hospitality portion of what is constructed from say right now, and doubling that and putting that on 27. Which we think that Powell Place was envisioned more as a pedestrian oriented, scalable community. That adding some additional residential on through the mixed use portion. Within the mixed use portion, 42 homes are built. Well, I wrote all the townhomes, 37 townhomes that you can see on Powell Place on today. So we're about 58 additional. As it is today, and then looked at doing more. But we, in looking at this and really being, part of the history of Powell Place and having the same ownership of to finish this and the feels appropriate. And so our request is simply unused residential and private and just moving over this mysterious line divided residential into mixed use. That's right. Talking about issues, we did meet with the HOA. They did express a lot of concern on the alleys we did here. Primarily, they've been fortunate to have woods behind their homes and some grading issues. And so we talked a lot about the issues around that existing alley, how best to approach that alley. We don't have a solution yet. We're open to continuing this discussion. We also, I will say, we are committed commercial for, we really had it more, in our mind, our place lane, double-sided detail, walkable, with a with the potential to do some condos, both retail in the city and is also another attribute. So we, in our plans and our current thoughts, we have 90,000 square feet of commercial. It could occur above. And again, if we can stop right here, so the future host hotel site is not included in this 27 acres. Already a site plan for that hotel. It's been put on hold for a little bit based upon sewer allocation, right? So we had that hotel ready to go years ago and didn't have the allocation. And so we're waiting for allocations to start that hotel. There in yellow is the actual 27 that we're talking about. And as you can see, the 6 acre hydrogen tube site that sits in the middle. And part of the green space is part of the original community. Context for the 27 acres. This is what we're looking at. Bifurcates running from northwest to southeast. That is somewhat of a demarcation, taking everything north of that creek and really commercial to occur there so that people that want to build that hotel, there's walkability of restaurants. And we here. Again, the matching line when it's residential, when it's an excuse. Residential portion, again, 910 units were entitled for the development portion, 583 was constructed. That leaves 327 homes that were not built. We've had to take a little bit less than half of that, so that, you know, that number is 140. And you know, that we would just like a few more tools in our toolbox to this mixed use to the mixed use. And again, in the blue, there was 100 homes permitted in the blue area. Pretty sure those were built 58 homes still remain to be constructed. Thanks. Again, when you look at documents registered to the town, all we're asking is to amend 2 numbers in that looks like this document. You brought it up.
So it sounds skewed.
All the other rules that we apply to the numbers that we're asking.
Let's see numbers are.
The residential reducing, the 9 and 10. No, 760. There. That's the one thing that we can do. One thing to say, you know, everybody kind of wants what the plans would look like. So this is an initial concept plan, and this is one that we talked through with the community in our these are existing now. Planner's mind, sustainability, you've done it in certain, it's not a good thing, it's kind of infrastructure, like, you know, completing the alley, like other alleys within our place, you know, since there for having double living alley. Makes sense, but we also heard a lot of concerns from citizens, so I think that's a design problem that's still needs to be solved. But this is, you guys suggest the 9,000 square feet on the north side of the stream bed. Does allow for more living space, you have park structures, you have walking trails.
Where's the park?
It's right, so in the middle.
Where the screen?
Yes, there's a little building, campus right there. Play on it. You check, so you take the road that fronts the new townhomes. Right there, right in the middle.
So, screen, where's the screen go? Not park, bridge.
Correct.
Does the screen go underneath Powell Place?
It does. So the existing pond is the fountain. You cross Powell Place Lane, right? And then the stream is running, you can see where it's slightly different in the green. Again, running from northwest, southeast. And so, we added, the thought is that with the engineering, we're going to need stormwater management ponds, so it's going to go to retain some active lawn area for trails. So in some ways, it actually extends that park experience from what's on the west side, up the side, to the east side.
So there's two water retention ponds.
Yes, so that's the stormwater.
Well, that's just not usable land. Not buildable.
This is right in there, so we have to construct the ponds. We haven't done any engineering on this.
Talk about the, so there's, we have a way parallel to.
Yeah, so if you see, I guess like. Right. These are existing homes, existing homes, and so that it was the, so we're going to double feed it up and be able to get everything.
So those are townhomes here?
Yes.
I go there a lot. I know exactly what you're talking about. And it's no longer, it's not very locked off. So we're actually parking townhomes on both sides of that alley there.
Correct, and that's. Right now, it's in complexes.
And Denver is what you're talking about, that area?
Back up.
Yeah, they have a road on either side of the front.
Right, since that's the same with this. You've got complex lane that comes down. So it's similar, there's a road here, right? And this would be a road in front.
So I know there's like a 6 foot
It's a traditional drop. Yeah, that would be the same street. So condition that's existing.
Tell me about mixed use, why you chose, let me ask you. Let me say that I have a great deal of respect for your building and your development. I truly do. My heart sings when I think what you're doing. There was a point in Powell Place where we talked about this great, beautiful mixed use community where we have commercial, we have grocery store, you have cooperative communities. You have so far, you have residential. And I know you were asking to refer back to an agreement we had in 2002. But now you've got a moving us. Changing things a bit. Can you tell me about what your plans are for the promise of commercial properties in Powell Place?
So, two things, I think the market, in 2003, Powell Place is it, right? This was prior to Chatham Park, this was prior to Union Park. If you look at what's going on north of us, I think there was a calibration of what the market could support. And so
When you say question, mean, was it?
How much commercial, yes.
Okay.
Right, like what is the new center, what is the new hub, what is the new? As a new dominant state, all those wonderful attributes of Mosaic, right, that everybody enjoys, the conversation on Friday. Is there enough room to compete against that? Would you want to compete against that? Or is there a way to think? That's we deal through this. And so one of the ideas and for one thing, I'm sorry, it's so hard to point here. Politics. This is 17,000 worth of growth. That's the vision that, you know, it's not public safety. Although, even with this request of adding 150 residential units to the next use, there could be a lightning strike, right? The public could go out. And still look towards commercial and then have to do development. It's just saying, in our minds, we just thought in hearing, you know, in our work through the community, that housing was the needed addition, that we've heard through the, even the planning board stated that they would prefer density to be over existing. So we taken all that in and said, what is the right mix here? How do we provide a good mix of housing? How do we provide that center, that hub, that life that is part of the original housing? So again, you know, 100,000 square feet. I do believe that we are willing to commit to building for commercial and we can memorialize that. In fact, we can definitely work through the staff and come back with you. I mean, you need triggers on that because there is.
Well, have you done a traffic study? I know you want more density here, but if you consider what's around this parcel.
I'm very familiar, yes, because we,
yeah, I know.
and so,
South,
the existing TIA from entitlements with the apartment, so the TIA was last updated when the sanctuary apartments went, right? And they had the original entitlement numbers in their work law, so that's what we're relying. And there's a lot of engineering to do. It's not to say that, again, Old Rock Springs Cemetery Road is it's a church. The park, you know, it's not to find out curves on one side right now. You know, there's a lot of things that you know. But it's not to say that, you know, I think a parcel on Old Rock Street Cemetery Road, we want to do some form of how that fits into the newer is the original vision of how it is.
So you do have a commercial plan to be done.
We currently our thought was everything we've heard is that existing communities, areas where the utilities, smart cities, all of the stuff's in it, where we can intensify more housing and balance that with commercial. And that's really what triggered our minds thinking about, can we take the great streets of topics, right? And the topics is actually beautiful. It was just great streets. You've got senior housing, you've got apartments, towns, you've got the whole blend, you've got great range of house types. Last thing we want to do is not respect that. And this plan follows those. Proceed housing, right? I would agree there are great parts of Powell Place, but that alley behind there, it's not great. You want to double feed that and you can denser and denser. That's all working on it. So and that's a lot of discussions we had in our community, like You tell me, do you want me to back up a retail buildings that have service, dumpster, we'll put a 20-foot buffer, thin line of trees. All parking, lights in the parking lot based upon all the requirements that have, town speeds go on site lines. Or would you rather have it in the And so those conversations, right, and we can have those same conversations with plans. And so, tonight, this was our latest vision, right? This is kind of like trigger the thought of, can we do this? Like, it's not the final resolution, it's asking, tonight we're asking, do we have more tools in our toolbox to integrate?
I would like to ask, I would say for you that, we have an agreement. Attorney, clarify. It's still valid. I'd love to see is the planning department, the staff, this, come up with a that incorporates exactly what you want. This seems to be a little bit piecemeal and a little bit on the rough side. And I hesitate for the sake of residents to nodding and affirmative. And I'd love to hear from the planning department if that's possible. Can we come up with a peaceful way of resolving this so that you can shine this.
I think, Randy, you help us clarify what the.
Class this evening is tech plan, which encapsulates the actual number of structures you can have on the site. On one map, go in, draw lines for a number, and redistribute houses that weren't currently built. That is essentially a plan. As we were talking prior to this particular meeting right over here, if these are structures that are for sale, if this is a subdivision, obviously a major subdivision plan would come in here. Whereas the commercial, those would not come in here to this board, they would be settled at the staff level in terms of a site. If someone were to decide to simply the 22-year-old project and say, come back with conditional zoning, and we're back to the planning, we're back to the drawing board, and we say, okay, original plan is this, improved plan is that, and they just have to let us know. Maybe an area where you can address matters. Parking and things that are more concerning. The actual, certainly, and I did not include it in my report, but if you'll indulge me for 5 seconds, the recommendation to approve was not, gosh, I love the idea. The recommendation to approve was, does that 2-sentence request match the ability within the ordinance to make a change to an existing agreement? And what it does. Do I think it's a great idea? Is a whole different conversation on it. Question is, did this guy petition to change 2 sentences, and did I see within the ordinance that that is possible? Yes. Is that clear as mine? It's mine. Like all, you plan.
You come in and change the land use first. You took that extra step to start to suggest, here's some texture, this is one version of how this can play out. And so this, and again, in the community, we want to have all these thoughts about what's the worst case scenario. And through those discussions, that brought out the alley and the importance of the alley and really thinking through what are the design options on that alley and how do we deal with that alley that's what's sustainable, or we're not doing redundant infrastructure,
but still, meeting the needs and requests of these. So, various ways this can play out. I mean, 55,000 square foot grocery, access all on Rock Street Cemetery Road is really within our needs, right? That could happen. We could say we don't need any more residential units. We'll just take a 58, we'll build 58 townhomes. Come in for complete vision and talk about ideals that we've heard expressed from the town about housing diversity, and meeting housing needs where housing should occur.
Right.
I was just gonna say, not every, not throwing anyone under the bus, no matter how close. But not every single report that comes to you all includes the community meeting notes and the 2K. This set of meeting notes is substantially enough that I felt that they should be part of what you all were considering. That's why I've been. It's long. It's long.
I transcribed those and I hopefully transcribed them from what was communicated at that meeting. And we wanted to get it all outside, right? We wanted to get those issues out, address them and be honest about them and what we heard and know what attention is. I'm gonna finish off complex again. All is into urbanist principles and it's a gem with everybody.
Feel like you have best staff that do a great job there. I really do.
No,
They will work with you. But this is not. This could be better. And I would love to table it to a time where we can come up with a new agreement that's not 22 years old. Something visionary, something that would really put a legacy on the building. So, challenge me for that.
I think it's natural to look at what's presented as part of it, but I think it's also things. So, there's a list request this evening to consider, and you're not requesting to decrease square foot.
we are not. We've got still, and again, there's two more to this here. This is looking, you can see the existing pond, right, traffic circle, the new hotels on the there. As I'm looking at it, so that's the site plan that's already in. That's the viable new, First Street means complex lane, right? So that's that kind of commercial industrial center. You've got the grocery store anchor, and you've got the ability to kind of turn that traffic circle into a moment. It's got a nice piece of urbanism to it. It has connectivity, it has the walkability. Right, you can see how the new residential into the townhomes. You've got stormwater management pond, you've got a little additional park space that plays off the existing pond. So in my mind, I was trying to really think about scale and blending and what is appropriate. And I think there was maybe one other.
So are these renderings what you're suggesting as like?
Well, these renderings were, it's so hard to look at. Not everybody can read the plan well. So we took the extra step to get renderings done. So in our mind, we're thinking about the quality of spaces and how the buildings work together. Nobody can sit there and think about it. And it's even hard for me to look at, well, I know the hotels are in there. How many stories is it? And how does it relate to Powell Place Lane? If somebody goes and stays at the hotel, they have an opportunity to walk over and get a bite to eat, go to the coffee shop, go to the bottle shop, go to the shop. Offices, they can walk to because it's tax company along Powell Place Lane. So, and then it begins to think about architecture and scale, right? And then that
building on the right, there could be a little work. I haven't seen that done. I mean, historically, we've seen it plenty of great examples in the town of Pittsburgh. You haven't seen it in the last 40 years. Is there a possibility to kind of provide that integration of residential use with commercial?
Okay, so, I'm sorry, just to go directly to what you just said, and to get a yes or no answer. Does this thing in front of you tonight include additional written commitments or conditions that could be added to the existing agreement? Yeah. Literally, I want to do something I didn't build here, and screw it in here. Yeah, yeah. Could there be other ones? Yes. Are they included in the packet tonight? No.
So. That's perfect.
Certainly, it's not going to be subdivided, and it would come down to a drawing and a going through construction drawings and that sort of stuff. It's a step. Anything that's going to divide off is going to be a major subdivision, so you're dividing to set. A lot of this is not making a whole lot of sense in there, but if it's residential and you're dividing, or if it's commercial and the intention is to sell it to somebody who will go on to develop it, then those things come here and they get settled by you all. You're simply looking at something that is already a lot, is zoned for the commercial, it has been. Someone can come to our department with a site plan, and then that is a construction drawing and site plan for it's got a staff loan.
Subdivisions that we're talking about, dividing this house into one half, or that would come back to this board.
Gives you a great opportunity to compare what is on that piece of paper or what is in that proposal to our requirements for streets and alleys and every other thing that you can think of that's associated with sidewalks. So all of those pieces are elements of fixing. So it's.
But they are not discretionary. You have standards.
Thank you. That's the one part I forgot.
We also have, more citizens signed up to speak, so I think it's. So we figured out the comment section, please say your name and address, that's part of the comments, this time we're going to 3 minutes, and please write your comments before. First is, Susan, who will go.
There, my name is Susan Patrick. I live at 120 River. Adjacent to, I currently serve. Since 35. Moved to California in 2010. So we 15 years. That said, I'm a resident. Apologize to the board. All property behind my home.
like, it's nice buffer, but I understand times change, that point, you know, is that my problem as an owner? That problem of a developer? As if that is changing, the fact that when I here's to the neighborhood of like 89, if you compare apples to apples, you put 35 campaigns directly across from 35 campaigns. Why do you need to cram sardines in there? Because those lots are, I would call it best sardine lots. What purpose does that serve? What purpose does that serve for Powell Place? Powell Place is a residential community complete with city apartments, complete with city park. I don't see that cramming homes into it in any way that enhances. Supposed to be commercial, I think we should pursue. You should just slap a bunch of shotgun homes in there just because. Bottom line, as a homeowner, that's the issue. Just because we can move those homes, should, I would have done it. That's.
Up next is, Fred Baldwin, speaker.
Good evening, that's all. I'm a owner. Like we said, over drive is one of the town houses. But the alleyway that you go. 16. Perfect, right? Or anything between that. But you see there. There's nothing, and there's no way that. It puts a onus on all of us, not only as a homeowner, but all of us as citizens of Pittsburgh. I've been there over 15 years, same situation, that under the aspects of that land, that the commercial, it was actually a location. What does that mean to that? It's schools, we have more people coming to the county, we have more people looking at. With all of these issues, I would like to ask if anything has been done on the road site survey for that area. If there is, I mean, that's a question. I'm sorry I missed the in the other hearings, but I personally, as a homeowner, they've got notifications from. That's not only for me, it's for a number of residents that basically never got notification. Yeah, I'm also in a development phase in different areas. So I do try and follow the guidelines, go through these procedures. Very concerned about access, travel up that road, our place. It's a one-way street. Cars parked on Powell Place. If you got an emergency there. The Comm Association has done a great job
that area around that anyway, is actually. If I went directions, but I think it is actually that alleyway is not. Public walkway, but it's not. It's part of the actual. Circulation in Greenway. Right. I appreciate it.
Up next is Alicia, followed by Mary.
I did not sign up to speak, but I would like to reiterate it. As been at the original meeting, maybe brought up the issues with the emergency access.
Sorry. I got it. I got it.
It's okay. I did not put my name on the list, but I do. I would like to reiterate everything that my fellow homeowners has said here tonight. Apartments were built as well, and emergency vehicles would not be able to. As I recently had to have emergency. Great things for our community, but I think it's worth looking at. Actually going to be done before we decide what it is that we're going to do.
Your name?
It's Felicia Sawyer.
Okay, and that's
Yes, correct.
thank you.
I can also agree with what my fellow. Representative and definitely very concerned with the development of the community. I do feel like this needs to be developed. However, to Powell Place. That neighborhood. And I find all the trees, the national. I definitely think that a better plan needs to be in place as far as what needs to be developed for. And I just will also state that for. It is laughable to consider that to be a road for two people to be prospered. For example, if I am if myself I'm an excellent driver, if I am trying to back out of my driveway, I cannot actually complete by myself. So I don't have a second vehicle parked in my parking space for the last two. I cannot completely back and do a turn out of my parking space. I have to do turns without hitting the grass or the dirt from the other side. Neighbor would be right there behind me. It's not feasible at this time. And I just like to thank you again for your time and.
Is there anyone else who didn't sign up who would like to speak?
My name is Pam Bryan. I think the bigger issue here that we come. For commercial development and. Does more time. What we can make all homes because we apparently find commercial people. Else, and I understand in our meeting there's a lot of talk about sewer on Mosaic and Hampton Inn that for me. On Mosaic, I don't When it was on the plans, it might have come after that, but 21. Came down here. And I find it very alarming. Statements, if you go back and you read through all of the community dialogue that was shared with you in your packets, because that's maybe not always the case. A very interesting dialogue at our community meeting. And it was presented so softly and so gently. Our fear as neighbors. Basically, hello, artists tonight was we didn't build 58,000 for a lot up against you tonight. That's what we choose to do. That's not the spirit in which I have found Pittsburgh and Chatham County to be. I don't find that to be kind. At this one juncture, and I understand exactly what the vote is. The vote or happen, and they can. So our concern is step one, because if they get to step one, it's a whole lot quicker to step two. That's this technology, so I take your time, I appreciate you being here, and I thank you for listening.
Anyone else on the public? Take a motion to close the public hearing. Commissioner Baldwin, and second, Commissioner Vose, all those in favor? No.
So can you talk a little bit about the commercial side of things? Yeah. The old agreement was and appropriate or permanent.
Previous agreement was discussed at great length, but certainly the mixed use piece had considerably less housing, obviously, because the assumption was that it would be free. Certainly, you know, always look at it, depends on how you do it. To bring in commercial housing, all sort of way, or you're going to be substituting one for the other. So, as Mr. Lyon did point out, at any time, they could certainly take the current agreement and follow the current agreement. This request, I was just to transfer unconstructed residential one place for another. Because the numbers that were initially decided on do not yield enough residential to make it. Current question is really an issue.
Is there the difference between 2002 agreement and the current?
Yeah, we didn't have, we certainly have quite a few standards we didn't have at the time. So yes, the world has changed significantly.
Would they be reflected on this plan?
All we're doing is taking a number, moving them. It's simply rearranging, but no, it's not taken into consideration. Obviously, the construction side is taken into consideration our current, but no. I think the answer to your questions now.
Well, I guess.
I was going to have to, if you certainly build something, you're going to have to follow the changes in the UDO. Agreement 21 years ago anticipated our need for open space and recreation and walking trails and what sort of streets are in there and what, you know, height objects are, all those things you could not. 21 years ago, unless you didn't see any.
So in our experience with the Chatham Park, not addressed in documents, not planned. That would then turn to you to go.
Absolutely.
Guidance.
I agree. The issue might be double on space, however. If you had a requirement for a certain amount of space and park and sidewalks and so forth, you did not actually build it, you're still required. So the fact that it wasn't in the agreement is not eliminates the need to follow it. In areas that were not addressed in.
Time lives in this neighborhood. But and I'm also to get into any detail because of the developer and if there's a willingness by the developer to do a form of mixed use that is residential over commercial. Would it be possible to envision more of that? And I'm also curious whether that would even be acceptable to the community. I mean, it seems the most unacceptable thing about is the idea of building up on town. Instead, move that density elsewhere with a mixture of commercial and residential. I mean, I'm very intrigued by it. Hungry to see that kind of reform that is commercial on ground floor and residential above.
To answer your question, yes, there is a lot of property. But it's our market and it's sold privately, right? So there's things, which is one of them, right? Little works, I've worked all around 4 times in my career. You have to find the right partner to do, right? But the benefit, you can go. Right, their economies exactly. It was built to the same alleys as the other alleys in Powell Place, and so I'm like, okay, if there's precedent there for not loading houses. Could have been exist, people live in, is. I've heard you guys from staff say. That's the alleys are probably today, right? The home backs up to now, maybe somebody's backyard is fenced, it backs up to that house. That should work through that, and that's what I think, even when talking to staff, and. How do we address that? I would say, in the mix. You're trying. That deal of creating mixed use community, walking the street and walkable shops, stationary shops, no rooftops. You know, originally not. We thought we'd like to get a little bit more of that incident back, help make the case of why retail should be there as well.
I think I think there's some confusion from conceptual lines original, but would that alleyway profile be such
That'd be allowed. You can be able to say.
But again, we're not trying to make plans based on that. I'm trying to make a decision based on that.
The only issue is whether we change one.
And if we wish to add conditions, we do something else. Granted, this, but he just said can it be this number or is it this? Where are they coming from? Well, they're coming from up here that never got built, so. Lot of this force.
I'd love to see. But anyway, I'd love to see density, but a safe density for traffic. That complies with our current. If you can't decide tonight, I don't necessarily want to vote it down, but I do want. For developer, it's also very important. I move we table this. Proposal. At a later date.
When you're tabling me too.
We don't have to, but you could.
Yeah,
And you might
want to respect, developers. I move to table this for the next meeting.
And it's give us more time to do. So we got to prep the next week.
But I'm looking at that, but it's that too. Yeah, it's that.
I prefer.
Table two, they were meeting, or second. Second.
Aye.
Let's see, Dan.
Second.
Up next, we have an action item for appointment to the planning board. There are 3 positions. 2 would start immediately with different.
We're abundantly blessed with applicants for the in-town positions. We have only 2 applicants for that 50 days. Noting that the third vacancy is coming. So what I'm going to propose is that we go ahead and address one of these in-town seats now. And then take up the other 2 seats at our next meeting. That in mind, I'd like to go ahead and make a motion.
Before you do,
Yes. Okay. So I'll make a motion for Alan Wilson to fill the one in-town seat that's vacant right now. Yes.
It's a motion. Is there a second for discussion?
Add a motion.
We have a third one. Just-
Can we add a motion to term ending?
I make a motion for James Buster. If I know.
If you want to make it for the other in town list.
Go ahead and deal with this first. So, I'll speak in favor of my motion. Powell Wilson, in addition to being, graduate as well. So it is playing a pretty significant role in the Vineyards neighborhood. It's a shadow park neighborhood. A more responsive HOA or property owners association. Coordinating role, might say a leadership role in that neighborhood. He's also very active with the historical, John County Historical Association. The prominent leaders in that neighborhood, and I think it would be good to have representation from our newest neighborhood in town on planning board. Aye. Aye. Any opposed? Passes. For the other positions. I made a motion for James Buster, so in town.
Yes. Sorry.
Any opposed? I'll make a third motion to postpone. Okay, decision until December meeting, or if we're gonna. Couldn't do it in January, because then you wouldn't have four.
It's for.
Yeah, that's the key point here is that, just two names for that area which encompasses such a very large acreage, maybe prices.
Certainly, it's flags, so, you know.
Yes, please. Postpone the ETJ board, appointment and ask staff to re-advertise. For all, January.
Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Up next, we have a request for North Carolina Department of Commerce Rural Downtown Development Grant.
Thank you again, Mayor. So, yeah, we're really excited about this. We made this application in the summer and we were notified on October 18th that our application was selected funded. So, we're excited. This is our downtown streetscape improvements. I think Court earlier this evening alluded to the fact that the Hillsborough Street project has a component that's not discussed tonight, and that is that downtown street component that will go from essentially from the Welcome Center to Thompson Street, Camp Street, being that intersection, Thompson, Hanks, and Hills. So we're very excited about that opportunity. This will provide significant funding for our portion of that project in partnership with NCDOT. Grant is $850,000. So, have answered any questions that you might have, your action items or a resolution. Then approval for the mayor to sign the grant.
I have a question. What is the scope of, where can this money be spent? On what?
So the distinction about funding, it cannot be spent on improvements inside the road. So basically it has to be outside the curbs. And that, is our intent to improve the accessibility as one focus, to improve the safety, the efficiency, sustainability of the streetscape area between the curbs and the buildings along those two lines.
I have one question regarding, I know Becky mentioned something about the meters that are all on the sidewalks. Will these meters be they be moved out the sidewalks or what?
We've not gotten to that detail at this point. Certainly they would be stabilized. There's some here, the meter box is maybe either lower or higher than the walkway. So certainly it would be even smoothed out. Those type of issues would be corrected, probably mostly through all the bricks being removed and relayed. We're not talking about moving meters as such.
This piece is about $200,000. So this grant and the 200,000 you'll allocate for the last piece, you're half over there. Part of 1,000 was for a new water line and sewer line. So when the new lines are put in, it's very likely that the contractor, when relocating this meter, section.
Motion to approve. Resolution second, Humble downtown economic development grant. Second. The votes, all in favor, say aye. Vote. Okay, motion passes, and I'll take a motion to approve the budget amendment to that fund. Box. Second. Aye. Thank you. And our last. Request for an interlocal agreement between Chatham County and the town of Pittsburgh.
Farrell, Comm Enterprises here this evening. The letter of senior agenda back questioning the adoption of this. Basically, is to allow Chatham County to administer these watershed protection ordinance adopted 30 years ago, 31 years ago, since we were practicing it. In terms of impervious surface areas in development. Excluded municipalities as an they through the end of the EPJs and municipalities. So the county has no authority in the town or in the EPJ. And all enterprises owns a property that is in. It's not on Baldwin Road, it's off of that, there's any access to it, so I'm on a piece of property about 60 acres in size, and the county is not able to area to allow for an increased density in another area, another property that can all owns out of 64, which is subject to the county's watershed regulation. So this interlocal agreement will basically allow the county to administer its watershed protection programs to make this 68. Conservation easement to be protected against development in the future. All self the administration of that program. That's what the interlocal agreement says, and you are in place for development. 21.
Is there a way we can pull up the two parcels? That's, on the screen,
Well,
South. That's something. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. See, owns the property to the west. It does have a. Come in and suggest. So it is possible that this one could be reached one day by. Possibility.
there's a stream crossing, right? Or isn't there a stream crossing there?
There is.
actually, one parcel is 70029. The other.
I had to agree to the So while we're waiting, Highway 64, this is a storage facility, correct?
We have a, dealer there for D&H, one if you've seen it, building short storage is across the road from us. We have other properties in the county. We have the, BP station in the Blister and Barrington Point Road up near North Chatham, that area. We have that property, other property adjacent to that. We got, the, next properties on Marsh Road, and we have the, property there at Lockwood.
So can you do a satellite?
Sorry, I've got a lot more stuff on my screen.
Okay. No problem. So it's actually the third round circle on the left.
That little down arrow, like the X.
Yes. That's the property you need to get.
Okay. In other words, it's vegetative properties, it's forested. Is it, you own this property? Right?
Yes,
So is it a forested piece of land?
No, I don't, I mean, not that, I'm okay with it. I mean, it's, you gotta develop grass in 60 acres and you don't want to cut into. No, this guy, he's not gonna get it up.
I understand. So what piece of that?
We would keep the whole piece as, just as it is. We would probably use parts of it for one of our other properties, but probably we're interested right now to offset for, this, would be the, property down on 64 where the RDED is.
So what you're asking us to do that is not exchange property at all, just exchange the agreement.
Right, we're gonna leave this as it is. Talked to a couple of neighbors and they're real excited about that.
This is the reason, for a limit on impervious areas near a watershed in the first place.
Basically, it's just something that the state's allowing to, like, for instance, a property down on, Highway 64. We're in the same watershed and in the same impervious, calculated areas, like 36%. And basically what you're allowed to do for our property that you see there on 64, because that property is more valuable than this property here in Loveland. And so we're able to offset. That is called the sending property, and Loveland would be the receiving property. It just stands for the impervious calculations.
It's actually allows you to average the density. You've got a 15-acre piece that's developed and a 15-acre piece, 60-acre piece that's not developed. You combine them together, 36% for 30 acres is about to have more density there on that piece in exchange for not having any density at all in the other.
But is the answer in any way ecologically impacting the area of the land? What we're looking for, I guess, is like responsible land stewardship.
We still have to meet requirements that are allowed our piece of property. And that's what I'm saying, that's the stormwater plan that's approved, and
It seems to me like this is new. It seems to me like the reason for the in the first place is to protect the lands in the watershed. And this just frankly seems like clever new.
yeah, I guess the state statute that allows for that is, we can give that to you. Basically, it's just something that the legislature came up with to allow you to do that, make more use of land like that versus the other land.
That property is in the, WS4 protected area watershed, just like, it's like 1 acre property, it has same watershed, same rules. Options like the town does. area is 36%. But if you set aside same amount of land in another area,
What's the acreage on the Senate property that will be impervious?
Yes, it's over 15 point.
15.086.
Yeah. 15.86.
That's the additional impervious surface.
Yes, and out of the 60 acres, we use 17 points, whatever that.
Yeah, that's,
Yeah. Yeah.
so
We dedicated for all site work with properties.
So where is the county in this procedure now? They've been, are they next for you to go to?
They're aware of the situation,
They're aware.
and basically what we're needing is your approval.
Okay, so the county commissioners also have to approve this.
Yes,
is this recorded as a conservation easement?
yes, sir. And all of the enforcement and support restricting coverage, restricting that area for any further development.
But it would be only restricted to the 17 acres
For this particular parcel,
on the 60 acre.
assuming the county approves it, yeah.
One more question.
Thank you, sir.
That property is all wooded. Is there a restriction on clear cutting that?
We don't plan to, we plan to leave it just like it is. I don't plan.
Could there be a restriction?
Like that?
Could there be a restriction written in?
Right.
Could there be a restriction written into the agreement?
I mean,
It's a conservation.
yeah, that's what, they say, that's what we did.
Well, I don't know that it's that clear. What I'm reading, it stipulates that it would be a vegetated or natural state of perpetuity. Perpetuity isn't even on there. I think the word is, but, vegetated or natural state. But a clear cut can happen on a vegetated or natural state. I don't think there's anything. That it's that. So,
Well, we don't have plans, and we'll put it in whatever document needs to be put in.
And the topography is pretty significant. I'm guessing that area would benefit from set aside. So you're to not develop in that area that is has the most extreme steep slopes that well thing I am curious. It's not clear that there is already blue line streams in there. It's not on the report of the county. So I think the nearest blue line stream is the best.
You can see it on the.
That's not what happened.
Oh, very good. Okay,
Oh, there's 1/7.
well done. Oh, thank you.
And I'm gonna talk about land use plan, the area to the southeast of that blue line. Conservation target, and everything northwest of that is slated for conservation and design.
Does your entity own any land around that?
Yeah. Conservation standpoint, best place would be, because you already don't want to deal on the lower. Best thing for conservation would be the 70 acres of. Got future use to be very concerned with the thing, because you're right, to know this out for the project, yeah.
We're gonna use it for other property, that's what you're gonna do all.
How would you say about this? Are you? They also have to agree 100% for the development.
That's the other ones who authorize the averaging of. All that this does is to say that that's the decision. already include work of service on the 64 property. It's just that the property that was to be set aside is. And they want to swap the land and the county can't.
So it was outside of BCJ.
Right.
This could be a really, nice feature for that. Active park, or dedicated reading space for a very long time. We've had a couple of the neighbors who requested that they go off and run. They all.
But just to be clear, like you're saying.
Yes, they will have them agree with them. It should be noted, like this situation. This action, we would be foregoing potential future tax revenue. For higher development. But I responded that. Judging from topography, probably shouldn't be developed, so,
I don't think we're ready to come. Let it get.
Another information, the parcel that. Would you for road access possibly? That is owned by the neighbor. That could. 871. Yes, the parcel per day. Release it.
And access Baldwin.
Gotcha. Part of this.
Plan for other offsets.
Yeah, right. Then we go to the distance, yes, we go.
Does this agreement cover the entire parcel, like allow the county?
Only that parcel, not any of the neighbor parcels, or other parcels you all want to do. On this parcel, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, and then.
For.
It's enough to be for.
Not. Just for my education, that's.
Yes, either way. Yeah.
It's informative because. About how to. Elsewhere in town, I'm sorry, just a bit of a tangent, sir, but elsewhere in town, how do we eventually get to the kind of. That is reminiscent of a dense neighborhood where, porches are feet from the sidewalk. And impervious surface limitations were cited as a reason why we would have challenges. I've gone through all of my questions and had my concerns swayed. Are there other students still have outstanding concerns? I move to approve the development agreement between Cobb County and the town of Pittsburgh in accordance with the general statute.
Second, Commissioner Farrell. Any other discussion? Favor say aye.
Aye.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Okay, so for a motion to adjourn. Favor, Baldwin, second. Second.